Welcome to the Pre-Snap Podcast presented by LineStar, your top NFL player prop bets for Monday Night Football's showdown between the New York Jets and the San Francisco 49ers. Alongside Tyler Wiemann, I am Shannon Sommerville. We've got some great player prop picks for you in what will be an epic game as Aaron Rodgers and the Jets travel to San Francisco to Levi Stadium to take on the 49ers, and just a ton of storylines to follow in this one. So excited to get into that. And also we will have your touchdown calls, and at the end of the show, we'll just tell you who we think's winning this game and if we're playing any of the sides in that one. So this game going to be an exciting one. I will be at Levi Stadium for this one, so I am personally very excited and have a lot invested in this one. I am a Jets fan, so full disclosure at the beginning of the show. However, I will be unbiased in my assessment of the prop market, I promise. Tyler, what do you make of this showdown on Monday night? Quite a Monday night game to kick us off.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we don't see a replay of last season where Rodgers gets hurt in the first snap, but I'm excited about this game. This is one of the games that I'm most excited about this week.
Well, you talk about last year and everything that happened for the Jets. As a Jets fan, I can tell you just how devastated I was to see Aaron Rodgers go down on the first, essentially, couple plays of the game, and actually the same player that sacked him, causing that Achilles injury, Leonard Floyd, is now with the San Francisco 49ers. So there's just a ton of storylines across the board in this one. The 49ers, of course, got to look at them. And after suffering that heartbreaking loss in the Super Bowl, they did make some changes specifically to the defense. They got rid of their defensive coordinator, Steve Wilks. They brought over Brandon Staley, although they promoted from within the defensive coordinator, Nick Sorensen. So some things to look for on their defense. Also, some notes as we head into this one. There was a lot with the 49ers in terms of contract negotiation. They did end up getting a deal with Brandon Ayuk, their wide receiver one. There is some injury news with CMC as of Friday when we are taping this show. He is on the injury report, listed as a limited participant in practice with a calf Achilles injury. Something to note there, not something you like to see if you're a 49ers fan for CMC, but thought it was worth mentioning. And that is where we stand Friday as we head into this weekend. But for the most part, I feel like we've got a pretty clean slate on both sides of the injury report. So hopefully we can keep it that way. No more injuries for Aaron Rodgers. Let's have a healthy, happy season for the Jets. But really, let's dive into this prop market, because from a betting perspective, I think there's a lot of different angles you can play it. We're using the PropsAI tool on the LineStar app. If you haven't checked it out yet, I highly recommend you do so. It's a great way to check out the prop market, go shopping for your best props, and see how LineStar's projection compare to all the different lines that are out there in the different sports books. So you can check that out. Also, we are placing our picks on Underdog Fantasy, but if you don't have Underdog Fantasy, we've got some other apps too: Sleeper, Chalkboard, ParlayPlay. And if you don't have them, use the promo code LineStar when you first download them. You'll get a deposit match. Plus, you'll also get one free month of LineStar. So make sure to check that out. And if you can do us a huge favor before we dive into our top 3 picks of the night, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and comment below, because a comment will enter you into our prop bets contest. We are giving out our 3 best picks for Monday Night Football. So if we go 3 for 3, one randomly selected commenter will win $100. Got to be in it to win it. Make sure you comment below. If you have a lock, comment that below as well. All right, prop time. Let's start things off with the PropsAI pick of the night from the LineStar app, and we're rolling with Breece Lightning. Breece Hall over 26.5 receiving yards. LineStar's projection, 36.6 receiving yards for Breece. The consensus is 30.7. Hall led the NFL last season with 591 receiving yards. Yes, ahead of CMC, averaging 34.8 receiving yards per game. I think he gets there in this game against a very tough 49ers defense. Even though they're a good defense, they're an elite defense, they did have some major regression back last year, 12th in defensive EPA per play. In fact, that's why they ended up firing Steve Wilks, and they ended up hiring their DB coach to the DC role Nick Sorensen. They brought in Brandon Staley to try to fix it, but that's a lot of question marks on defense, especially when you consider kind of an Achilles heel last season. We saw it pop up a little bit, especially in the playoffs. They often got gashed by running backs, especially on those intermediate pass plays or plays to the perimeter, because if you look at how the defense, especially that defensive line, and they're basically predicated on getting after the quarterback. So a lot of teams, what they like to do is use that defensive line momentum going after the quarterback kind of against them and try to put them off balance. And we saw that happen a lot last year. They also lost Eric Armstead to free agency. He was kind of a pillar of the run defense. They brought in Malik Collins and Leonard Floyd, and they drafted cornerback Renardo Green, second round from FSU, but didn't do a whole lot to bolster it. Really didn't make a lot of changes in the secondary. Also note that linebacker Dre Greenlaw still out with an Achilles injury. Remember, he suffered that in the Super Bowl. And Tyler, if you can remember back to that game in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, it was a completely different defense when Dre Greenlaw went out of that game. And you could see kind of the momentum shift in favor of the Chiefs in that one. And so when I assessed this game from a prop betting perspective, that was immediately one of the angles I wanted to look at. And when you look at Breece Hall, he's one of the most dynamic running backs in the NFL. And I think he's going to definitely get his shot to put up some serious yardage. But I think they might do it through the air in this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there. And then to touch more on, just the spot that Breece Hall's in, he was over an 8 of 13 games since week 5. And I use week 5 because that's pretty much when he was a full out, getting his full allotment of snaps. So that's 61% of the time over. Then we have Aaron Rodgers, who does like to check down. He'll go through his progression. He'll dump it down. Aaron Jones feasted off this for years, and now I think Breece Hall will. The other thing, we got Mike Williams on a snap count, and then Malachi Corley is a rookie, so we're really not sure how much of the snap share he's going to get. So I think there's questions as far as where Aaron Rodgers is going to be targeting people. And I think Breece Hall is going to be a beneficiary of, other guys not being fully up to speed yet.
Yeah, and that's a good point you made about week 5, because they really did kind of ease him into the season last year. Remember, he had just suffered an ACL injury the year prior. Yeah. So when you look at ACL injuries, specifically running backs coming back from them, you usually get even more burst their second year removed from that surgery, something that we saw with Saquon Barkley. So we're looking at a running back that's going to be even more healthy. That knee's going to be healthy second year removed from that knee surgery. So definitely could have some more bursts for Breece Hall, who was already pretty dynamic last season in the run game. And another note there was that average of 34.8 receiving yards per game. His quarterback was Zach Wilson, and now he's getting Aaron Rodgers back. So I think all great arguments to lead us to taking the over.
Another thing there, too, is Mike Williams is in the same situation Breece was to start the year last year. Breece, they brought him around really slowly. He had 10 carries in that first game. Had 2 targets. It took him, like I said, until week 5 to really, really get going and get that full allotment of targets. And that's what's going to happen with Mike Williams. Part of the reason why I think Hall gets a little extra boost in the reception area.
All right. So that's our assessment of Breece Hall, over 26.5 receiving yards. Let us know in the comments if you are with us or against us in that one. But right now, we're going to each give our own picks. Tyler, what is your pick for this Monday Night Football game?
I'm going to go with Deebo Samuel, over 47.5 receiving yards. Our LineStar projections 50.3, consensus 53.7. The thing here is we had a full offseason of Brandon Ayuk contract talks. He wasn't in camp practicing day in, day out. So we have questions about, is he going to be in game shape? Is he going to be able to play his full allotment of snaps? Then we have CMC, who's coming back from a calf injury. He's missed a ton of time, and he is likely to go, they're saying, but why would they give him, the full allotment of work coming off a calf injury, which can linger? Those, preseason muscle injuries can really take a toll in this season on players and teams if there's a flare up. So I think that both Ayuk and CMC might be a little bit limited, and they're going to end up falling back on Deebo Samuel. Deebo can just do so many different things with the ball that I'm very excited about his chances today. The other thing is that I think Sauce Gardner is more likely to be on Ayuk than on Deebo Samuel. And Deebo is over in 9 of 15 last season. I like the spot for him. He was also only under this line in one game of which he had over 5 targets. So he gets at least 5 targets, and I would expect him with a little more added work, he's going over.
Yeah, and you talk about the volume. Also, as a Jets fan, I'll give you my analysis of the Jets defense and kind of the way I think this actually plays into your prop bet here. They like to keep things in front of them. They don't like to get beat by the deep ball. I think that's kind of where Deebo Samuel lives, in those intermediate over the middle throws where he can kind of gash you on these shorter yardage plays, but he can turn that into, 10 yards pretty easily, turn a quick throw over the middle, 2-yard throw into a first down. So I think that's where the Jets would rather you beat them than with any deep shots. So I kind of think the way the Jets play defense almost lends itself to the over for Deebo Samuel receiving yards, just because of like his strengths, how he plays. I think that lends itself to a pretty good game for him against this Jets defense that's kind of predicated on putting pressure on the quarterback, but also just dropping back into coverage and not letting teams beat them with deep shots, especially when they've got such talented corners like Sauce Gardner back there against the pass. So I like your play there with Deebo Samuel. For my pick, I'm going to a Jets tight end, Tyler Conklin, over 28.5 receiving yards. LineStar's projection for Conklin is 39. The consensus projection is 31. He was over in 10 of 17 games last year, averaging 36.5 receiving yards per game in 2023 with Zach Wilson as his quarterback. Need I say more? Well, I will. The teams that have had success against San Francisco have had success using their tight ends in the pass game. We've seen it with the Lions and Sam Laporta, Chiefs with Travis Kelce. And while Tyler Conklin might not be at that talent level quite yet, I still think he is a very talented tight end that can get it done in the pass game. And when you look at San Francisco last season, they ranked 15th in yards per game to tight ends. And Aaron Rodgers, we know throughout his history, has been a quarterback that loves to target his tight ends, keeps a close eye on them. Remember back in 2022, 11 touchdown passes to Robert Tonyan. He even made Jimmy Graham viable in fantasy football at one point. And I think Conklin is probably the best tight end that he'll have played with in quite a while. So I really like Tyler Conklin's position here to clear the over on 28.5 receiving yards. What do you think? What do you make of my tight end? Does he get the Tyler bump?
Good old Tyler bump. I like his spot for this game. Yeah.
All right. So
I can't argue.
All right. Let's go with our 3 picks, and we are actually putting them together on a ticket on Underdog Fantasy. Breece Hall over 26.5 receiving yards, Deebo Samuel over 47.5 receiving yards, and Tyler Conklin over 28.5 receiving yards. If you'd like to tail us on there, you can. Again, make sure when you download Underdog Fantasy, use that promo code LineStar for a nice deposit match plus 1 free month of LineStar. Also, if you haven't by this point in the show, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below, because your comment will enter you into our prop bets contest. So if we go 3 for 3, one randomly selected commenter will win $100. Hopefully we can go 3 for 3 on this Monday, get some extra money in our pocket, and hopefully it'll be a good game for me as a Jets fan. But I do like the props that we picked out, and hopefully they cash. Let us know what your locks are, though, in the comments. We're all trying to help each other out and beat the books, so drop them below. Now it's time for touchdown calls of the game. Tyler, where are you headed for a touchdown in this Monday night contest between the Jets and the 49ers?
I'm going to go to Deebo Samuel plus 145. He has 12 touchdowns in 15 games last season, and I think they might have to rely on him a little bit more with the Ayuk situation and CMC. And when totally healthy, he is just an absolute beast. He is healthy week 1, so let's go Deebo.
Yeah, I love Deebo Samuel. For my pick, I'm going a little sneaky here. All the talk has been about Aaron Rodgers and his return But really the story on the Jets is the Jets defense. So for a touchdown, I'm going Jets defense for a touchdown at plus 600. So we're getting a nice payout here. And they had 2 interceptions returned for a touchdown last season, ranked third in pass defense DVOA back in 2023. One of the best pass defenses in the NFL returns. And going against Brock Purdy, who has had 11 interceptions in the regular season last year, going against this really good pass defense, I think Brock Purdy might get a little lost in the sauce, and Sauce Gardner might pull off a pick, return it for a touchdown. Plus 600, I'm taking it. Let's go Jets defense. That's what this whole season is predicated on, the Jets defense. I know a lot of the talk has been Aaron Rodgers, but really the success of this team and how they've been viable the last couple seasons, even getting wins, has been the defense. So let's give it up for the Jets D. What do you think?
Hey, it can happen. Anything can happen with defense.
It's a long shot, but hey, I don't mind it. I will be there at Levi's Stadium, so I will go absolutely nuts if this one cashes.
Well, you're going to go nuts regardless.
I just feel like with touchdown calls, we got to have a little fun with it and take some of these long shots here and there, because those are way more fun to cash. I was especially inspired by Xavier Worthy, 2 touchdowns. We actually had somebody comment on our YouTube page, Xavier Worthy, 2 touchdowns on that Thursday night game. So I was like, you know what? We got to get a little more bold with our touchdown calls segment. So that kind of inspired me to go a little out of the box in this one and go with the Jets defense touchdown. Let me know if you are tailing me or fading me in the comments. We want to hear from you guys as well. But before we end this show, we got to give out the winning picks, Tyler. The 49ers last favored by 3.5 points. Where are you leaning?
3.5 points. I am going to go with underdogs. Let's get upset. A lot of turmoil going on in San Francisco throughout the offseason. They got a couple guys still banged up. Trent Williams just, signed. I think there's just a lot of moving pieces, and the Jets are going to be hungry.
I love your logic here. I also think the Jets are going to pull this one off and pull off the upset in San Francisco. If there is any team that knows how to dissect an opposing defense, it is Aaron Rodgers. I think he will get surgical on offense for the Jets and engineer some really great drives that eat away at the clock, control it, give it back to the defense to take care of business on the Jets side of things. And I mentioned the more I researched the San Francisco 49ers and the defensive changes that they've made, and maybe the lack of changes that they've made overall in terms of their personnel there, it kind of made me think, wow, I think the Jets actually have a shot at this one. And I just checked again. It is the 49ers are favored now by 4.5. I would love to take that. But either way, I got to go with the underdogs in this one. I don't mind a Jets money line pick either. I'm going to be at the game, so I'm going to roll with the Jets money line. Let's go. Let's see. Hopefully they don't break my heart again this year on the Monday Night Football opener like last year. And you know what? Either way, I will be there having a good time. So hopefully we'll cash some bets as well. Sometimes my logic going into games is to bet against the Jets so that either way, if the Jets win, I'm happy. If the Jets lose, I'm also happy because I've won some money. But for this one, I'm just going all in. What do you think about that approach?
Send it.
All right. Good luck, everybody, in all of your prop betting endeavors for this Monday Night Football contest. Again, if you've got any absolute locks that you've found in the sports books, please drop them below. We're all trying to beat the books and win some money on this Monday night. So let's get after it. Good luck out there. We'll see you guys next time.